thank you all for coming. There's still 3 seats. I know it was like there was a wait list and we were telling people to leave. We're new at this. But now I got coffee. Coffee's good. Hold on one second. Why are we here today? Thank you, Rhiannon. Couple people who have used it or know why we're here? Okay. Oh, we got Jeremy. Jeremy knows what it's about. He talked to us for 2 hours about it, so there's at least that. All right. Let's get to it. I don't know what that is. All my notifications. All right. Let's try not to do that again. Just kidding. I didn't do the tech check yesterday, if you can tell. Okay, so has anyone used Active Agent? Travis has. I know Travis has. And has anyone used ChatGPT? Same. And has anyone used ChatGPT to make your apps do cool things? Travis has used Active Agent, and I was like, yeah, I guess. All right. I'm getting there. No. All right. Yes. I swear. We got it. Woo! Thank you for coming out. It is still Wednesday morning, and I'm shocked to see how many people came out, and the wait list was long too. How many people are here from the wait list? Did anyone? Nice. See? It works. Boom. It all works now. All right, so we got the awkward introductions out of the way. 2 people have used Active Agent. Some people know why we're here. It's SF RubyConf. And how many people traveled here like Seth or Travis and don't come to like the SF Ruby stuff? Yeah, Corey. I see you. Okay. That's a lot. So maybe you haven't heard like my spiel or like why we're here. But it's to build AI features in Rails with Active Agent. I've been doing AI for like a decade. Oh, that's the shirt I'm wearing. I grew up in the Bay, so yeah, I've been doing Rails for about 20 years, and yeah, I think right now we're kind of in this AI gold rush where everyone's like, oh, AI is going to make us rich. That's not why I'm doing this. I'm just doing it because I want, like Arena said at the opening talk, I want more people to use Rails. I built Active Agent after working as a staff AI engineer for a Rails shop that had us doing Next.js. So it's not about the gold rush. It's about realistic stuff. So like I said, 20 years doing Ruby on Rails, a decade in computer vision, mostly in Python, and I love cats. And there are going to be a lot of cats. And it's not just going to be slides. There will be links and QR codes to code. Hello. Oh, you have an important sheet. It says fact sheet. No? Okay. Are you just listening in? Okay. What's your name? Sebastian? I'm Justin. Nice. Do you like cats? You're going to love this. All right. So who's used the Rails web framework? All right. More people. And so Rails is cool because it compresses that complexity of building a web application. What does that mean? Oh, good, it all came out. I thought I was going to do it one at a time. You know, like action view, controllers, models. What do we listen to? Was that the game? Hey, it could have been worse. Yeah. Where was I? Jobs, active job. Things that happen in the background, like you have a video still playing and then the audio comes on. They asked if I needed audio. I didn't plug it in, thankfully. Yeah, background jobs, WebSockets, Action Cable, any cable. Definitely want to thank the Evil Martians for this opportunity before I go any further, and the coffee. Vova was nice enough to get coffee. So we've all worked in, the MVC layer. We understand requests come into the controller. It makes a request to a database, gets some kind of objects back, and that instance variable gets passed to a view, and we render some kind of response back to the client, right? Good. We already did that. This is what all of those things do. If you don't know about Rails, this won't be an introduction to Rails, but there are a couple Rails apps we get to play around with. Action Mailer was actually a big inspiration for what ActiveAgent is. And so what ActiveAgent is that compression of AI complexity. So when we talk about AI complexity, what do we think of? What words come to mind? I have ideas, but she said RAG, LLM, okay. I was thinking context, but she's already got her context is full of these words like RAG and LLM, or acronyms, okay. But yeah, context and prompt management interacting with things like large language models or other neural networks that we can run in Ruby now. You can run computer vision models or other transformer models, so generative models like large language models from Ruby using an NVIDIA GPU or your Apple GPU. But so with ActiveAgent, you get action prompt, which is that view layer and that management data layer of the context that you're going to be sending to whatever AI interface you have as a generation provider. The generation provider backend, which doesn't only include large language models, but also the Onyx runtime. And I'm looking to add Hugging Face support, if anyone's familiar with Hugging Face. Managing tooling, managing streaming, and callbacks. And so the ActiveAgent class is really just an abstract controller that gives you background jobs. So very similar to Action Mailer. Who's used Action Mailer? Nice, everyone. Who likes Action Mailer? That's a question I should have asked before I kept going. Yeah, two people. Yeah. Yeah. No. That is it does the job. Yeah. See, no one likes Action Mailer. Yeah. Shouldn't have used that as a reference. But yeah, so we have our record is the prompt context, input messages. Messages, again, could be like logs. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be a conversation. Actions, which could be tools or user interactions. Also, tool interactions, we'll get into that later. Like MCP interactions. How many people have used Claude and maybe Playwright MCP to let Claude click around in your app? You can also do that in background jobs, and it's a great way of like scraping data or interacting with apps that don't have APIs, web applications or desktop applications with computer use. And then tools are really just JSON schema, and MCP is really just like a server where you can get JSON schema. And all of this is managed in your agent controller. So again, you have an agent class, kind of like Action Mailer, where you have a mailer class. And public methods become action prompts. These prompts then get rendered through the prompt method. So it's just like action view your action prompt. So this gives you like a way of managing. Who here has that has written code for interacting with large language models has a bunch of text in their Ruby code? Everybody, yeah. So you don't have to do that because we have herb. We don't have herb unless you're outputting HTML and inputting HTML, which you could if you're interacting with like a browser and you want the agent to see the HTML response. But now you can move all of that text that you had in your code into your views with text.erb, right? And then JSON schema, you actually might have some JSON schema just in your Ruby code. You could use the Ruby LLM schema gem, I think, tool schema. Anyone use Ruby LLM? Who's used Ruby LLM? More people, that's good. Okay, who's using it in production? Most of them. Okay, same amount of people. Yeah, and then callbacks. I think this is going to answer the young lady in the back's question about RAG. Retrieval augmented generation just means like retrieving data. How many has retrieved data? Yeah, okay, good. And then manipulating it somehow to augment the generation process, that's RAG. Who's heard of vector search? Yeah, cool. Who's done vector search before? Who's done vector search before? Doesn't matter. Yeah? Yeah. Who's used it before 2022? No? Okay. Yeah, I mean, vector search has been around for a long time. It's actually how I used to identify cow faces in 2016 for a computer vision project. But vector search, I feel like, has really become synonymous with RAG, and it shouldn't be, because you can do a database query or let an agent do a database query, make a tool call to retrieve data, and that's augmenting the generation cycle. So that gives you the RAG. But, yeah, thank you. All right. Let's see if I can put this down. All right. So like I said, it's an abstract controller. We have before and after prompt, generation, and stream. So you can handle streaming. And all of this is, again, helping to manage that complexity of interacting with large language models, managing our prompts, handling the data that we send to our prompt context, I think is important. We validate objects that we send to users. Who uses like action policy or can? Anybody? Yeah. Yeah, authorization is important. But do you authorize your objects that you send to a large language model? Who's doing that? 2 people. You should think about that. And Activation will help you so you don't have to think about all of that too much. But you should still think about that. That's telling. So what does this look like in the MVC architecture that we were talking about earlier? So a user makes a request, and then we do the RAG, and then we do the same thing, make a instance variable that we send to a view. And then this is where all that text that we had that was in our Ruby file is now just in a text.erb file, and it is text.erb. Don't forget that. I think that was, yeah, Travis remembers. Because it will break. We should probably have a better error for that. Oh, this is nice. I like it. Oh, and then the only difference is after it gets like that prompt that's rendered in a message and the context, it sends it to generate a response from a backend. And this could be an inference again from an inference engine or a different machine learning model. But yeah, to simplify it, it's a large language model generation provider. Cool. So example time. Man, I love these displays. Right? Who can guess what the first example is going to be? Sorta. It's a translation example that says hi, right? Ha, I, yeah? Who knows how to say yes in Japanese? All of us. It's hi. So this is an example of a translation agent passing some params to it. Again, very similar to using Action Mailer. And this is an action prompt called translate, where I have some text giving it some context of how I want it to translate, how I want it to format the translation. You could pass in a parameter that says how you want it formatted in some maybe JSON schema, if you wanted it to do multiple languages, potentially. And then it just says generate now, and when you call that, it does that whole thing that we saw in the diagram, and you can stream text back, even in Japanese. So that's cool, and we'll get to an example of that. That's on GitHub. I think it's been there for a while. Has anyone used that example? The streaming chat with like translations? I demoed it at RailsConf. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Has anyone seen it on Ruby events? Rhiannon, you haven't seen it?
Yes.
You edited it. Okay. Cool. All right. So that would be like a translation agent. Oh, yeah, it's the same thing, but just not the black background. Sorry, I was working on pulling these things out because I want them for like transparent backgrounds and videos. So yeah, what concerns an agent? Who uses concerns? Yeah, that's cool. It's according to Claude, according to someone with a 3-letter handle, it's the best abstraction layer in Ruby. That's what DHH said, Claude said to him one day. So what is, yeah, that's very cool. What does context mean? I don't know. It could mean anything. And actually there's already a context object, an instance variable in the abstract controller. But we usually think about prompts when we think about context, or messages. And again, like messages could be logs. And instructions are one of like the core messages that we want to send when we're rendering a prompt to an agent. And so that goes back to like these system messages that I say, oh, translate this English text to Japanese, but maybe I also want it to translate with like Romaji and not just hiragana. Maybe I want to also have it teach me kanji. Yeah, good examples, yeah. You could have all of that. Wow, text really got blown out when I switched the slides. But you can imagine the blank spaces are also text, and all of this is just the instructions for your agent, where again, it's a text.erb file, so you can pass in the schema and the JSON for any actions in your controller. I think that's what should be up above there. I have a pointer. Does it point? Oh, I don't think it points on the display. They're just so nice. So yeah, the instructions are something that you can use to inform your agent of what tools it can use. And again, tools are just passed as context in the form of JSON schema. How many people have used tools with their LLMs? Cool. So you know how to like format the JSON schema and pass that along and let the agent use your code. Wow. That's a lot. So this is an example, or it's supposed to be an example, of an agent class. And I guess it's okay that it's blown out here because it shows you that this agent, which is a browser agent, doesn't have to do much. I think the action method that's above is navigate. It can click. It can take a screenshot. Those are all things that you can actually find examples in the tests, and I'll link to that as well, of an agent that can use Capybara Cupright. Who's used Capybara or Cupright or Ferrum, the headless web browser? So you can have an agent do this in the background, click through, navigate, take screenshots, just like you have Claude doing in the command line, but you can have it doing it as part of your application. Sound pretty cool? I think so. This one is not as blown out. So you can see the example of a single JSON schema written in JBuilder. Who's used JBuilder for their JSON templating? Cool. Who's used like the Ruby LLM schema rendering thing? Oh. 4 people. Travis, really? Or was that just like you didn't want me to see? Or? Yeah. So that's cool. And actually, we'll get to that later in the slides. Who's enjoying the slides? We have, how much time do we have? You're enjoying the slides? Yeah.
What time does this end?
I don't know. What time did we start? It was supposed to be almost 2 hours, and I have no idea where I am in it. Does anyone know why we're here and how long we're allowed to be here? I think till 11:30, right? Officially? Okay, so we got an hour to go. Okay, so we have a browser agent. Oh, bear with the backgrounds, those are rough. And the browser agent navigates to Wikipedia and takes a screenshot of the side info content. Yeah, that's a good example. So this is going to be a series of tool calls that are happening in the background. So there's like that initial user request maybe, and then the agent has to decide which of those tools that we were just looking at get selected in what order to achieve the prompted goal. So yeah, the tool definition. We can have tools to do all kinds of things. PDF analysis is a very popular one for structured output. Yeah. Browsing, navigation, that sort of thing. Translations, like we saw earlier. People also ask about like the term agent. Who knows what agent or agentic means? It's a trick question because I don't know. I like to think of it as like personifying an object. And like we're now creating these classes that have the ability to make its own logical decisions, if that makes sense. So that's like what I think of when I think of agent-oriented programming, like object-oriented programming. But now you're making all of these agents that have, missed it. Now you're making all these agents, I have to be patient, that have all of these features. And when you're talking about agent-to-agent interactions, that's something that I haven't really made any explicit features for. There are cool things that I've had clients do in their application controller or application agent to route requests to different agents. But all it is, like we just saw in that example of where it goes to the browser, is a context, which could be a single text message, and a request, and that could be in any agent, in any concern, and a way of having multiple agents hand off work. So maybe once it got the picture, maybe you want to do something with the picture. Yeah. So yeah, there's also the idea of agentic coding, where you have like an agent that designs stuff, writes the code, clicks through the interactions. That's something you can now consider as part of your workflow when you're building out your Rails features, using things like FastMCP, interacting with your own Rails application. But that should be the idea just in general when you're thinking about like what is an agent, is what part of your Ruby code do you want the agent to have access to, and limiting that based on the context that you're providing that agent. So that's why, again, I think it's important to be explicit about where you're passing off context from one agent to another. Also, I just love the Octodecks as examples, and I've kind of taken inspiration from the Octodecks and used Nano Banana to make all of these agents, but I love it. There's also a Star Trek one. I did do a Star Trek talk. Yeah. Anyway, back to handling tool calls. This is the same tool call with the same prompt of navigate to Wikipedia, search the Apollo 11, take a screenshot. And so what this is going to do is the agent's going to decide, oh, I need to navigate. So it gets a navigate tool message back. And then the agent code triggers that navigate action. And then gets a document back. Now, in context, the agent knows what's in this HTML document, and then it knows where to take a screenshot, and it can pass those parameters in and take a screenshot. So again, similar to the interactions that we've seen in the past. In this case, the web browser is kind of where that retrieval augmented generation is happening. But that is like the model backend, is the generation provider telling your agent, your Ruby code, what to do. Let's see. And any questions while I look on the slides?
What does the brain represent?
The generation provider.
That's the LLM?
Yeah, the brain, the AI. Yeah.
And this is an agent controller?
Yeah, so the agents are just abstract controllers. So when you define a public method in your agent class, that public method becomes an action method, just like in Action Mailer or Action Controller. So view templates align with the method names, just like you have an index action in your Action Controller or a sign-up mail template. You would have a view associated to that.
Which is the prompt.
Yeah, the text.erb. And then instructions is a default system prompt template.
And then you would call this in a view controller or in a background job?
Yep. Yeah. And so you wouldn't call it in a view, you would call it from a controller, a traditional action controller, or a background job, and trigger it in a background job, and then do the work asynchronously.
Question back there as well.
Oh, yeah.
Another question.
Sorry, I had a
No, that's
question.
great.
In the prompt, I noticed you used the keyword navigate, and then also the method definition was called navigate. What if you use a different word in the prompt, like go to? Would it still be able to reason which method to use?
So in this case, those messages that come back here you're talking about, right? So this is actually the message that the large language model is sending back that's saying like navigate. It also contains params with like the URL that you want it to navigate to, or maybe just like the text reference, and it'll generate the URL itself. But this is actually going to be the message that the large language model sends to the agent, and then it's using the action method lookup, just like you would with a router for action controller, or if you've used action mailbox for receiving and routing actions. That would trigger the action method that, again, is defined back here in this massive thing, right? You would have a navigate method, a click method, a screenshot method that all can do some part of this interaction that we just saw. Does that make sense?
So you tell the LLM what methods are available to it? And then
That's right. So part of the instructions can be informing it with a JSON array of what tools are available. And by default, those are all of the public methods within your agent. So again, it's like helping to compartmentalize those like business logic constraints into an agent object. Yeah. And then MCP, and then the MC Model Context Protocol. What does model context protocol mean to everybody? Anybody? Anyone want to? Yeah, it's just a standardized API. It's like a JSON API for open API spec, not OpenAI API, but open API spec. Just like the tool schema, so it's a standard service that we can now interact with to get more tools. And so you can also inform whether it should look to an MCP service to utilize those tools. And so one of the things you should think about is part of your context is the actual tool definition that you're sending. So like some of the payload for your token usage is going to come from the tools that you have loaded. So having different MCP services that have different functions exposed on them might be a way of strategizing with your prompting on how to minimize what context gets loaded into what agent. That's another reason for having multiple agent classes rather than just putting everything into like a single application agent. Playwright MCP is a popular one. You probably used it for coding, but today you can maybe check out doing something like that, or what we just saw with the Cupright Capybara example that's in the docs. Yeah, because it's a cool thing that you can use like to research things, or again, interact with applications that don't necessarily have a REST API for you to interact with. And then one of the last topics in the presentation is structured outputs. Who's used structured out? Who knows what structured outputs is, at least as a term? Yeah, there's a hand I was looking for. Okay. So it's just more JSON schema. Yeah. That's it. No, I'm just kidding. So we can define the JSON schema with JBuilder or JSON.erb. And this tells the large language model, the generation provider, that we only want it to respond back with a JSON object and a structured format. And this is useful if you're doing like data extraction from, PDF forms, things like that. You want to scan every resume and get a person's profile, education, work experience back. Yeah, so in this example, it's like reviewing a quarterly report. You can see the chart PNG is loaded as the path. And then the chart schema that we just saw on the previous page, which is this here, tells it that we want these values back. Again, I apologize for the line spacing. I shifted the colors. I don't know how it did it, but You get it. It's long, it's JSON. You don't want to read it anyway. Yeah. Oh, and the arrows are slower. Yeah, I should have. Okay, so what if you could just have your models make your schema for you? Well, you can. So instead of just saying which action prompt template that has the JBuilder that you're looking for, you can just pass the class of an active model or active record, and it will generate the schema for you. So that way it's easy way. Don't even have to manage your JSON template, and you get structured output. So again, this example, all of these are in the docs in GitHub, but it's harder to find, and that's going to be part of the workshop, is digging that up. But you can play around with this in the 0.6.3 test suite. There's a Rails app. There's a V1 that's coming out, and it doesn't have this example. But this is a good example, again, resume, output. Yeah?
Quick question.
Yeah.
I have a question regarding this schema. You automate like all helpers, like references to other models, or created that, updated, etc. Like, should we actually exclude those?
It would only be the top level, and you can define a toJSON schema method.
So just use
So,
this JSON as my template.
yeah, and if you have a more complicated output, just use a JBuilder template.
Did the return, did that previous slide return resume instances or just hashes?
Just a resume, a hash representation. Yeah, it's just the open JSON schema. All right, Jeremy.
Can you trust that it's going to follow the contract when it comes back?
For certain models and certain APIs, yes, you can trust that it's going to give you JSON back. You can also specify that it has to give you a strict representation and it can't be missing any fields. There are also some where it can return markdown wrapped like JSON, which looks weird and is annoying to parse. There are some like error handling things under the hood, but yeah. I would just use a model that supports it properly, and you can look that up from like OpenAI or Anthropic, or if, has anyone used OpenRouter? They also have interesting document support. What were you going to say, Jeremy?
Would you let it fail loudly then if it came back?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the business use case. Like a resume, you can probably parse some of it and be happy. So yeah, that's all for the presentation. I do have a prompt management interface for agent monitoring and evaluations, and a concept of solid agent, which handles persisting all of your prompt context. This is a work in progress. Also the V1. Oh, good thing I didn't have my audio. That would have been loud. The V1 release candidate is out, so I do have some examples of that with Writebook. Who's familiar with Writebook? Yeah, one person. It's a once release, so I guess it's good that one person knows. Who's familiar with once? And like Campfire? Yeah. I don't know, they didn't make as big of a deal about it, but I kind of think it's cool. Yeah, we can see a demo of that. And that's basically V1 writing assistant. You can do things like, well, I'll show you. But yeah, any questions? I'll get some QR codes up and links, and you can either play around with adding it to your own Rails app, or you can play around with some of the demo apps. Yeah, two questions.
Well, back when I was playing with this gem,
Yeah.
I wanted to see if you had already implemented this, but is there a way for maybe these action agents to do some kind of planning, next step already implemented? Is that in?
Yeah. So I'm not going to do workflow management stuff. Like there are a lot of state machine gems and workflow gems, and there's now like active job continuations. Jeremy, do you have a gem that does like you do, right? That's I saw you teasing it, right? You haven't released it. So I mean, Jeremy's got a gem you can check out. But I mean, really, it's like, how do you manage the state of your action controllers? That's how I would recommend you thinking about your agents. Like, does this agent need to do something after it's read the resume? Probably. You could have that in like a after action callback. Same with how you handle like persistence or authorization in controllers. Yeah.
Ruby LLM.
Yeah.
Where is that on the? Is this a higher layer than that? Or
Yeah, and you can use both. I know Ruby LLM has a solid agent-like implementation where you can have like acts as chat or acts as message on a method or on a active record. Is anyone familiar with that? You're nodding. So some of that is similar, but then I would say Ruby LLM is more just that multi-generation provider backend, and that's something that didn't have when I started this. There is actually a Ruby LLM generation provider you can use as well. Yeah.
So is it lower level than the agent?
Yeah, I would say it's a little closer to the like community or official client gems. Yeah.
But you can use many backends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more about managing the prompt rendering and the context, like the state of the agent itself. Yeah. So Ruby LLM provides another execution layer for that. Think of it like with active job, you have different queue adapters. So similar. Or like active storage, you have different storage adapters. Okay, 1 second. Yeah, question.
One of the usages that we have is parsing of documents, and for this particular task we are using a third-party services like Redactor AI and so on. Is there a way to extend to like third-party APIs with this one?
Yeah, are you looking just to interact with like REST services using your
I
agents?
actually wrote the gem itself, but I just threw a body and add like specific active agent adapter and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you have any active jobs that you think could have large language models steering them, is where I would think to leverage that.
Do you have some examples of those types?
Of using like a third-party service? No, but we could work on something. Yeah. These examples here, this is Writebook actually, that I was talking about. We can just make a test. Writebook gives you like a markdown writing interface, kind of nice for writing prompts maybe one day. Let's see. Let's throw in the sales chart and just see what it does, and see if we have internet for the generation job that should perform. Oh, it did. Yay. Weird quirk about Writebook, you do have to hit the check mark. Or if you hit preview, it'll erase everything. Yeah, it's shit. But it works for them, so you can submit a PR and no one will review it. But I actually, it actually, the weird thing with the once things is they're not actually on GitHub. So I can't even see. Anyone see what I'm typing? You have to go to once, and it's like a zip file. Oh yeah, there, it was the right thing. But here is this, and I will make it bigly so you can see. Oh, that didn't really help. Let me get a QR code. Someone was asking me to make sure I had QR codes, and I swear I said I did.
It's github.com/tons-of-fun/writebook with a W if anyone can't read that.
That's what it is. Hold on. Anyone want to make a QR code of that? Wait. How do I get it?
I think everyone's got it.
You all got it? Yeah?
So you took the writebook code and then you added active agent, and that was like
Where'd it go?
you put some hook on there so that whenever you add an image, it will also insert a summary of that image that came from AI.
Yeah, that's one of the features that I added. And then, let's make it bigger now. There's also, let's see, let's just take all of the text and see what it does. There's also these where you can say improve writing or expand with AI. That one just causes an error, so don't hit that one. This one should improve it, but the other one causes an error too. This is actually a branch that I have of upgrading it to V1, but who has downloaded it, cloned it, or whatever? Oh, also, while I have the thought in mind, who here has starred Active Agent on GitHub? Yeah? You can go do that right now. And star Herb and like all of your friends, like cool open source. It's the least you can do. Because we do this for free. Mostly. Some people pay me. Yeah, I'm gonna see why this broke. And then yeah, we can maybe add to this or fix it or that's probably what we'll do. Hold on one second. Oh, actually, I'm gonna do the mirrored screen now. Hold on. Oh. Who named that? All right. Can't see that. Oh, okay. At least the image one worked. At least you guys got to see something. Everyone saw the image description get loaded, right? Proof. It's proof. All right. It's big. Also big. Actually, yeah, cool. My text is still there. And let's just hit improve. That broke. Is streaming. Yeah, this is the V1 work in progress branch in my writebook. So if you want to use the latest and greatest, somewhat working one, who has Wi-Fi? Did my phone die? Because I was connected to my phone.
Yes, it did. You can use my phone?
Yeah, if it's dead, will you hand it to me?
Yes. But also you can use it.
Sweet. Does anyone else have internet? Sort of. Yeah.
As if it would be -125.
Maybe that's why it's not working. But it did work. I'm glad the demo worked for like that last second.
Turned
tech support.
Do you remember what like model you were using for
That?
for the image?
4.0 mini maybe?
And it was just you were sending the image and asking for a summary.
Yeah. I'll show you the prompt in a second. Boss is reconnecting the Wi-Fi. Ooh, my phone is hot.
Okay,
I
there
wonder
we
if
go.
it got it. All
There's
right.
4 stars on the right book.
All right, don't star this repo. That would be silly. Star the active agent repo.
I mean, you can start both. It's fine.
So Travis had a great question. What was your question, Travis?
That's a good question.
Does anyone?
What model? Yeah, what
The
model
model.
were you using and
That wasn't actually the great question.
what were you
Yeah, it's just 4.0 mini. And what are we sending? Actually, different agent. Again, trying to keep a separation of concerns, as they say. So this was 4.0. 4.0 mini, I think, also has image support.
Okay, that's for documents in general, not just images. Oh, it has.
Yeah. I think it's just using this analyze image. Yep.
And are you running these in background jobs?
Should be. I might not be for the demo, but you should. Are you?
No, but I should.
I guess that's kind of how that happens. Who's using background jobs? But only in production, only for work. It's not for this not for this example. So yeah, let's look at the project structure a little bit. We have an agents directory, and we have a views directory. And in the views directory, we have the file analyzer agent, and this is the actual prompt template that Travis was asking about. That gets sent to the analyze image prompt with the image. And you can also pass like an additional question into this view template. You can also, I've had some clients where it's, they have templates either managed in GitHub prompts. Does anyone use GitHub prompts? There's like a prompt management tool, or just in their database. Oh, sweet. I get a, damn. Did you guys see how excited I got for a cookie? I was gonna say, I got a cookie. I guess I haven't earned the cookie yet. Where was I? I got distracted by cookies. I guess that's why I didn't earn the cookie. Yeah. Or if you have like an Avo dashboard and you want to manage the input prompts in a template, that's something that will be added to the Rails engine coming down the pipe for Vue 1. That way you can render dynamic prompts from the database. That's something I'm doing with AngelList right now, and then another client I have. Yeah. So it's pretty powerful what you can do in your code with your prompts, but also in the database, or like with Active Record or Active Storage. Is that a question? You have a very inquisitive look on your face. That's a question.
When you're creating your prompts and kind of adding some kind of dynamic details and some existing structure, do you have any, I don't have a ton of experience aside from just working with regular agent interfaces, like how do you structure your prompts to make them successful?
Yeah, how you structure the actual prompts. No, I usually just let a large language model create my prompts. I didn't write this. That's like, yeah, that's my honest. I'm very poorly, very poorly. If you've ever texted with me, that's about as good as I'll get with Claude. But yeah, no, I mean that's another thing is evaluating prompts or just like AI in general. Like who has made AI features without large language models? Anybody? Yeah. What did you do? What was it? Computer vision. Yeah, yeah. So it's interesting with like a computer vision model, like I can make a model that detects name badges, but maybe it doesn't work on certain name badges because this one's like so transparent, something like that. So data science keeps training a new model. This happens with ChatGPT all the time. Just because you're using 4.0 doesn't mean you're using the same 4.0 from like a year ago. And how do you know that even just this prompt still works the same with the same 4.0 model? I don't know. And how do you like observe that and evaluate and monitor that?
Coming soon.
Yeah. There are some tools, like I know New Relic's trying to do some stuff with that. There's some standalone ones doing like open LLMetry. But yeah, managing the prompt itself, any changes in the context, all of those things need to be fingerprinted so you know that the output that was generated from the response came from these variables. Yeah. I am. Yeah. That won't be free and open source. Maybe. It might be like PostHog, where some of it's free. Or you can host your own for free. Let's see. We have the assistants. Oh, wait. No, actually, let's try something new. Maybe. Let's do a vibe check. Are you guys entertained? I got a two thumbs up. All right. More code, more pictures, more cats. Which... Shit. I wasn't prepared for that. Actually, I did have a cat image to test, but let's see if it just works now with the internet. Cats are in high demand. I don't know what my password is. Hold on. Where's Cameron when you need him to hold a mic for you? One person got that. All right. I was able to log in. Did anyone clone Writebook? Yeah? Was anyone able to log in? Come on, one person. I logged in too. It's two people. All right. One thing you'll need to do is configure your credentials with a token, because I'm not giving you guys free tokens. But then you should be able to do this, where you can upload an image, and it could be of cats next time. And then you should be able to, if the internet works and likes me, have a streaming response come back to improve the quality of the content. Or maybe we should have expanded it first. I think this one blocks. This one doesn't stream. Trust.
What does the stream response look like?
You just saw it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was doing API.
Yes. I'll show you again.
Sorry about that.
No, it's great because it is actually working now. Apparently, we need internet to talk to the internet, and unless you want to do local models on your laptop, who here is blessed with a lot of RAM on their MacBooks? Because it's not me. You didn't. Yeah, Seth. I know Seth's. You got like 96 gigs there. 64. Ooh. Does anyone know what that means for Seth? He, yeah, Olama. And he doesn't need the internet. He can just like get a nice, have you tried like the GPT open source models? I used the 120 in production for Workato and it was good. But on OpenRouter it was fast. I could only run the 20 on mine because I only have 16 gigs of memory. All right, what does the streaming response look like? It's not going to work now that we're all looking and like wanting to see it. Oh, there, yeah. So it streams.
And from the server, you're just getting
Chunks.
and you come to the.
Oop, I'm still doing the chunks. Yeah, where is it? It's too bigly. This is a chunk. We're doing agents. And in this agent controller, yeah, we have an on-stream callback. And on stream, we broadcast chunks. When stream's done, we say complete. So you have a handful of callbacks where you can send like progress indicators or just an indication that you're calling a tool. I don't have any of that. If you guys want to merge a pull request into your write book. Yeah. Where is it? Here. Yeah, so it just does like a little broadcasty thing. Yeah. And in this case, we have like a stream ID. You can pass whatever you want in the params. Look up whatever you want in the callbacks. Yeah. That's a good question. That's a really good question. Because I didn't make it. Claude did. But that's cool, right? You can vibe code your active agent demo. If you want to see one that I didn't vibe code, there's... and actually, this one's a pretty good... I'm working on updating this active agents demo. It's from... Wait. I think it's 0.3. Yeah, this one. Active Agents demo app.
It's really big.
Too big? It's big on my laptop too. Too small? Is that good? All right. This one has streaming and translations built in. That's a pretty cool one. We could look at that if you guys want. I've had some people rebuild the translation ones. Translation's popular. Did you guys know Discord doesn't have translations? I just joined a Japanese Discord for Pico Ruby. Does anyone know what mruby or Pico Ruby is? One? Yeah. And what's Pico Ruby? Apparently the same thing. No, apparently it's the same thing. But I can't understand anything they're saying in this Discord, except randomly I translated one of Hasumi's messages, and it happened to be about me. It said Justin in it, which I didn't read in the hiragana that was in it. Yeah, probably. It was both, and it was about me spilling the beans about where a specific conference was going to be and basketball. But Discord doesn't have translations, so that's an example of you could make a Rails app. What? I'm getting to the point. You could make a Rails app that does translations as a Discord bot. I would use it because, but again, I'm not paying for tokens. I'll use Seth's laptop for that. What model are you running, Seth? You just use Claude, only when you're on the internet. Yeah. Which one? Quen?
There's this one, Jan.
Jan? I don't know Jan.
I have a really cool app, but you can download Quen or a bunch of models.
Very cool. Well, people are leaving. It's good. We got like 30 minutes left. I have more code and content. Yeah. Okay. Well,
Could you run us through the full flow of just like one of the simple examples?
yeah. Let's. All right. We have the assistance controller, and we have this action writing improve stream. Again, Claude named that. I would never name it that. This is just a typical application controller instance. So it's routed to a REST endpoint. And this is actually, I think, where the stream ID comes from. Jeremy? Now we know. Yeah. And then it passes that stream ID, which is just a random number that's generated, along with the content back to the agent. And then the agent, again, like we saw, handles that on-stream callback. And then there is an example that I think is using stimulus. Who here uses stimulus? Yeah, I don't. I like Turbo. It's nice. Didn't have to write any JavaScript for that demo. Assistant controller. But if you look at the assistant controller, there are a couple AI buttons in our toolbar that we bind to, and these trigger a request response interaction with our assistant controller, and then it either will stream like we just saw, because it's doing generate later, right? Like we're supposed to, Travis. Yeah, so it's doing it in the background and not blocking. Or you could do it with async jobs, potentially, instead of active jobs. I haven't done that, but yeah. And then from there, it's just streamed back to the interface. Improve. Yeah. I don't know if this is how you should do it in Stimulus, but I actually like the example in this demo app. I think some of it was copied from Alex Rudall in a chat app that he made. Wait. Chat index. Yeah, there we go. And in this, we just emit a turbo stream, and then the support agent can load context to do a little bit of retrieval augmented generation, and then broadcast message. And then in this case, broadcast message is looking up a chat record from the context ID, and then streaming a message instance variable back. And we just have a simple broadcast append to and append to later in the message. So no JavaScript, just using turbo streams. It's nice and clean. It's the Glimmer Dream, yes.
Could we see the cat example? The example out of the kitten cat images?
I don't know, is it working?
No.
Maybe. It was, I was trying to upgrade
I'm
it.
mostly saying this with cats.
More cats,
Because you
gotcha.
promised cats at the beginning, and there's been like
A dearth of cats. There weren't enough, there were some octocats.
That's true.
There weren't enough cats.
Another question as well.
You have a question?
Do you have any tips for
There's
helping Claude
cats.
write good activation codes for anyone who's using Claude or AI assisted developer tools to build activation?
That's a great question.
You have an MCP for activation?
No. But I think actually would be more useful, and this is just like Ruby gems in general, but is anyone familiar with agent context, I think, from Samuel Williams? I mentioned async jobs, but Samuel Williams does the async and Falcon web gems. But it's a gem to help you generate context markdown files for Claude for your gem. I don't know. I would just point it at the docs and tell it to do that. Did I say context too much or Claude too much?
Somebody's trying to airdrop you a cat, though.
Ah, Seth. Thank you, Seth. It makes sense. Let's just save it to downloads. All right. Whoever left they're gonna miss out on the cat. Let's see what it says about this. It should work.
Seth, is this your cat?
No, it's just a phone.
Oh, it deleted everything.
Cheating.
Hold on. Cat. A good example of a third-party service that you could. I think he asked the question of a third-party service. There's cat. I had an example. I am doing the cat, but there's catasaservice.com. It's great. They have a neat little API that you can get cats. You can get JSON objects of cats. So yeah, you could theoretically, and again, I don't know if this is working right now, but you could create like a chat app, and you could make a feature that uses that third-party app to get you a random cat image from here. Let's see first. Yeah, it works, right? Random cats. Again, this wasn't working, but it might have just been the gem or the environment variable. Overmind.
What are you using for the green when showing whether it's up to date or not, the gem?
I don't know.
That's cool.
It's VS Code, yeah.
Must be, yeah.
I don't know. Or maybe installed an extension or something. All right. Well, the app restarted. That's encouraging. Cats. And we wanted, the young lady wanted to show me a cat. So this is an example of a tool call, if it works, of it showing a cat. Job error. Yes, it was. Hold on. Yeah, it was. You're right. Prompt context could not be found. It sounds like it's running the old version. You got the same issue? Where?
When I cloned it and tried to set it up.
For this one?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Let's fix it.
It should. I do have a work in progress branch, but
You're just a basic agent,
yeah.
just a meeting.
They don't have feelings. They don't think. It's okay. Let's see if this works. With message. Hi. So this just makes a simple prompt context where the method should exist, but it doesn't. That's probably the gem version. What is... I think this demo actually had a gem. Seth, in lib, do you have an active agent module? I think that one might have it like baked in. Yeah, that's weird.
Are you still getting that issue?
Yeah, because I think it's trying to load the local gem in that one.
Is dot prompt a method anymore?
Dot prompt is a method
Okay.
that will just call prompt without an action. So useful if you're just sending it like a plain text input. Let's see, I think this one. Yes, this one. All right. Let's kill the old one and see if this one works. No. Okay. New chat. What can you do? Nothing, apparently. The action prompt couldn't be found. Yeah, this is one breaking change, actually, and why there is a major V1 coming out. But prompt and prompt context are changed. But this should work. Let's see. Another one. Hi there. Same. I probably need to. No, this one has prompt context. I don't want to. I want to show cat. Hmm. Why does it say? Maybe I just need to run it again. And then the write book example is all like solid Q and SQLite, and this other example is Postgres, Redis, Sidekick. Cats, meow. Sidekick. Okay. Well, I would have expected this one to work, but for now, I'd look at the right book example. The V1 work in progress branch is the one that's working.
V1, are you looking for contributors right now to get involved?
Always looking for contributors. Star that repo.
There's a Discord channel as well. if anyone
Oh,
wants
right.
to-
Yeah. I have a Discord. There is no QR code for that.
But it is linked to, if you go to the website activeagentsplural.ai, I think in the footer is the link to Discord. Should I just take a minute?
Oh, yeah. At this point, yeah. You got like 10 minutes left.
Let's just rip a little.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone want to help? Oh, God.
Don't stand there.
Does anyone want to help my husband build V1 of ActiveAgent? Raise your hand.
Well, yeah. Open source contributions welcome. I would play around with the V1. The docs on there should be up to date. And yeah, the right book example with V1 support.
Why is this happening to me and that wasn't happening to you? Because I was standing right in front of it. Okay, gotcha. Okay.
What are the changes in V1? What is like?
There's a lot more instrumentation and tooling in V1, and that's in preparation for all of the observability and evaluation stuff. And then there's only one breaking change that we just saw, the prompt and prompt context. But that'll be documented as well.
What's the context behind that?
I wanted it to be one or the other, not prompt context, either prompt or context. I think I tried context originally and that broke it, because context is already an instance variable of abstract controller. Yeah, other than that, it's like simplifying the generation provider interface a little bit. Yeah.
Is there a way to use it with APIs directly and not having to install the gems for OpenAI or Anthropic?
Yeah, if you wanted to make your own generation provider, you could do that. Basically, you can use your agent to render prompts and then use whatever. Yeah. Because it's really just about managing the prompt object for that agent and the context of the tools that it has. All right, well, I'm going to call it. What? Oh, she wants the mic back.